A shepherd watches his goat lose its mind, bouncing off rocks, spinning, bleeding like it's possessed. And this single moment, this goat's freak out, is about to fuel revolutions, topple governments, and create 2 billion people who literally cannot function before 9 a.m. without it. The goat just discovered coffee. But here's the crazy part. The legend everyone knows? Complete fiction. And the real story is way darker. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Coffee's origin story is ridiculous, and the truth is somehow even weirder. 2 billion cups consumed every single day. It powers entire civilizations, costs the global economy $200 billion annually. But 900 years ago, nobody on Earth had ever been caffeinated, not one person. So how did we get from a confused shepherd and some dancing goats to a world that literally cannot function without this drink? That's the question we're answering today. We're going back to the 9th century Ethiopian highlands. Picture this. You're a goat herder on impossible cliffs. Your entire world is survival. When animals start acting weird, you have 3 explanations: magic, curse, or miracle. That's it. Because here's what you need to understand. This world has never experienced caffeine. Nobody knows what alertness actually feels like. Nobody knows why their heart races or their mind sharpens. When you get tired, you just stay tired. You sleep. And the caffeine molecule these goats are about to discover, it's literally a plant's poison, designed by nature to kill insects. You're not discovering energy, you're discovering plant toxins. So what actually happened on that hillside? Well, here's the story we've been telling for 1,000 years. A goat herder named Kaldi is doing his usual routine, watching his flock, probably bored out of his mind. Then something bizarre happens. His goats go absolutely manic, jumping, spinning, bleeding like they've lost their minds. And they won't settle down, even as the sun sets. Normally, goats get drowsy at dusk. These goats are throwing an all-night dance party. Kaldi investigates. What did they eat? He tracks their movements and finds them clustered around a specific shrub with glossy leaves and bright red berries. The goats eat the berries. Then they go absolutely bonkers. Now, if you were Kaldi, what would you do? The smart move might be to avoid whatever's making your livestock act possessed. But Kaldi decides to try the berries himself. Imagine biting into that first cherry. It's sweet, slightly fruity, with a weird seed inside. And then, maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, something shifts. Your heart rate picks up. Your mind sharpens. You feel awake. Not normal awake, but alert, like someone turned up the brightness on reality. And what do you do when your body starts buzzing for the first time in human history? When your heart's racing and you have no idea why? Is he dying? Is this magic? Is this God speaking? This is where the legend splits. But here's the most popular version. Kaldi, freaking out about these magic berries, takes them to a local monastery. He finds a monk and says, "You need to see this." The monk looks at these berries and, depending on which version you hear, either dismisses them as the devil's work and throws them in the fire, or takes them seriously and investigates. Here's where it gets interesting. Whether by accident or experiment, those berries end up in the flames. Imagine standing in that monastery when those berries hit the flames. The smell is unlike anything that's ever existed. Your brain doesn't have a category for it. It's making your mouth water. It's rich, deep, slightly sweet, absolutely intoxicating. Someone rakes the roasted seeds from the embers, grinds them up, and mixes them with hot water. When he drinks that first cup of roasted coffee, everything changes. Now imagine you're this monk. Your job requires you to pray at specific hours through the night. Staying awake is a constant battle. Cold water doesn't work. Uncomfortable positions don't work. Nothing works. But this drink, This keeps you sharp, focused, awake through the darkest hours. For a religious community trying to maintain discipline and devotion, this is revolutionary. Okay, stop. Everything I just told you? Probably complete fiction. Nobody wrote this legend down until 1671. That's 800 years after Kaldi supposedly lived. Let me be clear. I just spent 5 minutes telling you ancient gossip written down 800 years too late. But here's where it gets interesting. Stick with me, because what historians actually found, way weirder and way darker. What historians actually know is that coffee plants grew wild in Ethiopia, and people there definitely figured out that coffee was special. They found proof that Ethiopians were using coffee in various forms, chewing the cherries, mixing ground beans with animal fat for energy during long journeys. But the coffee as we know it, roasted, brewed, consumed as a hot beverage, that probably developed later, possibly in Yemen. Here's the competing theory that historians take more seriously. Around the 15th century, Sufi monks, Islamic spiritual practitioners in Yemen, adopted coffee as a practical tool. Why? Because Sufis perform dhikr, rhythmic chanting and prayer meant to bring them closer to God. And these sessions last all night. Coffee became their secret weapon. They figured out how to roast it, brew it, and turn it into a ritual. They called it qahwa, which originally meant wine. Think about that. Why would they call an energy drink wine? Because it was doing the same thing alcohol does, creating an altered state of consciousness without violating religious law. Same effect as alcohol, zero religious guilt, genius, right? From Yemen, coffee spread through the Islamic world like wildfire. By the early 1500s, coffee houses were opening in Mecca, Cairo, Istanbul. These weren't just places to drink. These were meeting halls for philosophers, politicians, revolutionaries. These were places where people argued about politics, plotted revolutions, and came up with dangerous ideas. They became so influential and so threatening to authorities that several Islamic leaders tried to ban coffee outright. And here's something wild. Coffee was banned at least 5 times in Islamic cities. Why? Because authorities thought it was too similar to wine. Imagine being so scared of a drink that you outlaw it. And imagine being the population that riots to get it back. That's how good coffee is. Spoiler alert, the bans didn't work. Once people discovered coffee, they weren't giving it up. By the 1600s, European travelers were bringing coffee back from the Middle East. Venice got the first European coffee house in 1645. London followed. Paris. Vienna. These coffee houses became engines of revolution. The American Revolution? Planned in coffee houses. The French Revolution? The same. Coffee didn't just wake people up. It woke up entire civilizations. But here's what nobody mentions in the cute legend about dancing goats. As European demand exploded, colonial powers established massive coffee plantations across the Caribbean, Brazil, Southeast Asia. And those plantations ran on enslaved and forced labor. Now picture this. It's 1700. You're a plantation owner. Coffee is making you obscenely rich. Someone asks you about the workers in the fields, about their conditions, about the millions dying. Do you care where your wealth comes from? History shows. Almost nobody did. The same drink that sparked the Enlightenment? It ran on slave labor. Your coffee has a dark history. Here's something your barista won't tell you. The specialty coffee industry only started caring about fair trade and farmer welfare in the 1980s. Before that, nobody asked questions. Nobody cared. Today, coffee is the second most traded commodity on Earth after crude oil. Over 125 million people depend on it for their livelihoods. One crop failure, one price drop, one trade war, their entire life collapses. Ethiopia, where it all supposedly started, still produces some of the world's finest beans and maintains elaborate coffee ceremonies as a cornerstone of social life. Meanwhile, cafes named Kaldi's and Dancing Goat exist on practically every continent, keeping that ancient legend alive in neon signs and corporate branding. But here's what nobody tells you about coffee's discovery. That first cup probably wasn't a cup at all. Early coffee users likely chewed the raw cherries, ate the beans mixed with fat, made weak tea from the leaves, the roasting process, the grinding. The brewing we consider essential, those probably came centuries later, from multiple cultures experimenting independently. Here's the real kicker. Kaldi probably never existed, but his legend tells us something true anyway. Coffee was probably discovered by accident, by someone paying attention to animals in a place where curiosity was stronger than fear. The legend might be fiction, but the process it describes, observation, experimentation, courage, a little bit of luck, that's how most great discoveries actually happen. We just prefer our heroes to have names, and our origin stories to have goats. Next time you grab coffee, remember this. Someone had to be insane enough, or desperate enough, to try what goats were eating and then drink it. The discovery of coffee wasn't genius. It was chaos. And honestly, most world-changing discoveries start exactly the same way. Observation, experiment, desperation, luck. Pause. Let that land. Now here's what happens next. Don't skip this. I need you to pay attention. Hit subscribe right now, because next week we're investigating something even more disgusting. We're answering the question, who looked at an oyster, a slimy rock that looks like a booger in a shell, and decided to eat it? The answer involves starvation, poison, and a Roman emperor's deeply weird fetish. Seriously, you will not believe this one. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for being here first. I'll see you in the next one.